Hey, how's it going, everyone? It's 8 a.m. and I am ready to be depressed. Today we're going to be talking about the current state of Smite, why it's unfun, and what needs to be changing in the future. Because this is definitely good. It's seeming more like a systemic problem. Of course, there's a huge rant from Variety in here that we'll get to in a sec. Here, there's also a couple other tweets that I want to talk about, and then give my view on what's been going on with Smite. Why is the meta shifted in such a unfun way? And then yeah, let's just get into Bobby's tweet here. So this is a good way, good appetizer for what's coming. I feel like I'm usually very okay with playing Smite in whatever bad state it's in. I mean, me personally, I've quit like 20 times, or I guess taken a break like 20 times. So I'm definitely not the same. But maybe I'm just getting cynical or burnt out. But I probably had my least favorite day of Smite in a very long time. Every single game was not fun because of both picks and players. And I think it really comes down to the picks, the meta at the moment, and I think Smite's Smite, right? It's a MOBA. It's going to be toxic, but I think when the meta becomes less fun and becomes more toxic with what characters are good, what items are good, things like that, the players become more toxic too because the game's less fun, right? So I think there's definitely a connection there, and you go on the subreddit, and everyone's just like, "What's this burst of toxicity coming up? Why is the game so much less fun to play right now?" Yeah, and I think it's all connected to the sort of toxic meta that's going around. So let's switch over to Cherio's tweet real quick here. More relevant to me. This jungle meta was genuinely awful to watch, and I'm one of the few who actually used to enjoy playing that style, but it's so boring to watch and play when it's just the meta. Hard agree. It really felt like if you wanted to win every game, there was only 3 characters you could go. I mean, there was flavor picks brought up by high-level players like, Apollo, jungle was still good and ranked. Pele was seen as pretty good. I don't know why Pele was valued so highly. I never thought she was that good in this meta, but I understand. Get a third engage in there. And then Camazotz, that was mostly just layers, I think. But I mean, yeah, at least Camazotz came back for a little while. That was cool, and I think he's still going to be good going into the next patch. But yeah, in general, I think especially just Mannequin Scepter is just such a issue. It just brought out the worst, most annoying characters that we thought were gone from the jungle. Like Erlong has always been okay. Osiris hadn't been a jungler for a little while. I think it was maybe season 4 or 5. The last time he was good in the jungle, well, like meta in the jungle, I should say, and now he's just come back in full force. And like, the problem is, if you want to kill the meta mid laners right now, if you want any hope of killing a solo laner, you have to pick a Mannequin's Abuse character like Gilga, Erlong, and Osiris. If you pick an assassin and you don't get ahead early off of like a blink over the wall in mid, like, you just lose. You're just going to lose because your team fight's much worse than these warriors. And your farm's not going to be as quick either because they're Mannequin's Abusers, right? So they just one shot all the camps. It's just brought out the worst of the jungle. It's not hype to watch either. Definitely not. I mean, in a vacuum, Gilgamesh is fun to watch. I think when you break down what's actually happening with Gilgamesh, it's just hilarious how unfun it is to play against that character. And just playing against him every game since he got released was very tiring. And that's what we get into with Variety's tweet here. I think there needs to be some sort of reevaluation of how the game is balanced. First, the insanely high pick/ban rate of gods like Emotion and Tiamat since their release, regardless of their casual, low-ranked, high-ranked win-loss pick percent, they should be nerfed. And despite all the nerfs to the gods, they're still insanely high priority in pro play and high MMR, which could mean it's to do with their kits. Or not, it definitely does have to do with their kits, don't worry, dude. Something has to change, whether it's Emoji 2 being more healing than shielding or whatever, I don't know. But there has to be some sort of rule internally in the balance team where they have to address some sort of nerf. They could as pros, high MMR players, etc. In League of Legends, this is probably not 100% accurate. Yeah, he said in pro play when champs have extremely high pick ban percentage, they have to be addressed. Not every time. Definitely not every time. Like, Tom Kench was really good for like a year, and then they nerfed him really hard, and then they buffed him really hard again with a rework, and now he's back. Also, I think there's some gods that make the game very unfun to play, such as healers and Odin. Definitely not just his opinion. Odin is so unfun to play against. Very unhappy that he's in the meta with that stupid Fighter's Mask Warriors X. If there was to be a poll with pros and Diamond Plus players, I would bet money on an overwhelming majority of them would agree that the game's way less fun with them in the meta. Hard agree. You know, it sucks because like people want to play healers, right? Like people are healer players. They like that style of play, but like it's just so annoying every time it's good enough to be considered meta. It's just so unfun to play against. It completely slows the game down to a crawl. It feels every time. And it feels like even when you have 110% anti-heal on a lot of the healers in the game, they still have, you know, they have their move speed, they have their immunities, and they just get away and then they heal anyways because they waited out. Ugh, it's so irritating, which is unfortunate, right? Like you want multiple styles of play in the game, right? But it's just so unfun every time that you know, like especially how not all gods have to be viable, which I'm sure the balance team understand. But this comes down to, in my opinion, the reckless buffing of gods. Definitely true, definitely accurate. I think Hell was just unexplored, and then she got buffed so many times people were like, all right, we have to try this character out. Then they realized how good she was. Triple buff one patch, there's no doubt she's going to show up in pro play. Same with like all the jungle changes. Yeah, that's stupid. I don't know why they changed so much stuff about the jungle. I kind of glossed over it because it's nice to get some jungle buffs as a jungle player, obviously. But yeah, they way overbuff the jungle, and we don't know what's going to happen. And that sort of leads us into some other things that we'll talk about in a sec here. I agree, everyone's saying the Assassin's jungles needed to be buffed, but buffing like 5 jungle items in a singular patch as well as speed buff, don't forget about that, as well as the starter upgrades that patched before. It's so dangerous to the game. Yeah, like, it doesn't seem like they take their other changes into consideration, ever. That's the number one thing that I think I take away from all of this, is just they don't seem like they care about the changes they've made before. They don't seem to understand like the certain items in certain, you know, starter item upgrades and things like that, the other items that are in the game, when say they remove boots, for instance, it seems like they don't even think about what they have just buffed and things like that, like with the bow builds and things like that. Without letting it play out over time is a big one. Like I remember I was vocal about this before. I said I really liked how they were doing a lot of big changes every patch, trying to change the game, but the thing is they've done it every patch now. That's the problem. I liked having some sweeping changes at the start of the season, but now we're past the mid-season point, and we're still getting huge, enormous changes every single patch, and we're just not letting it play out ever. Like it's getting really tiring, you know. And just something huge and annoying is just popping up every single patch, you know? Some character just abuses some item that got way overbuffed, or some character got way overbuffed, so now they're abusing the items that were already good. Nerf Soul Reaver, goodbye. Yeah, Soul Reaver's stupid too. This is we'll get into this a little later. But, yeah, Soul Reaver is a key item in an argument that I'll be bringing up a little later. But I want to keep on the god balance real quick. Okay, so we have this tweet from Mr. Blues Ultra. I'm actually not familiar with this fella, but apparently he has access to these statistics, and it's kind of hilarious. So Umoja's only been available since the start of Season 7, and has a 90% pick ban rate. Oh. And of course, this is also a positive win rate. The win rate's around what you'd like to see, a little bit higher than you'd like to see, of course, above 50%. But the pick ban is at 90%. For 1.5 seasons now. That's ridiculous. That doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, at least with, like, you know, what I mentioned earlier, Tom Kench, at least they nerfed him to the point that he wasn't relevant for like a couple months or so. Like, at least he was out of the meta for a little while. This clearly indicates that Umoja's never been out of the meta. I need to make a video on Tiamat alone, because Tiamat's just stupid. You know, I was very excited for her when she first when I was first overviewing her in the PTS. So she has been picked or banned 97.7% of matches. That's unreal. I mean, and keep in mind, this is 256 games. It is just funny how unbalanced this character has to be for her to get this pick ban rate. I mean, well, the thing is, like this type of pick ban rate, we've seen it before, right? I think Release Merlin, King Arthur as well. And, you know, those are characters that had also been relevant for way too long. And their pick ban rate was really, really high. But the thing is, they weren't getting banned nearly this much, right? Because they were just seen as, okay, this character is very strong. We should at least have it in the picks and bans at some point. But I don't think the win rate was anywhere near as high with Merlin and King Arthur. And I don't think the ban rate was nearly this high either. So I think it's just a new level of like Merlin and King Arthur with characters like Tiamat, Gilgamesh, and Yamoja. And speaking of the devil, okay, just giving you guys a quick overview here. Oh, I already scrolled all the way down, but boys, let's just look at this real quick. Nerf, 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 nerf. Nerf, 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 nerf. I don't even have to keep going, guys, because it just keeps going. And then they buffed her when she was first released. I don't know what they were thinking with that. That's like yet another example of them just not letting it play out, and then they buffed a character that was clearly overpowered, and just wasn't explored yet. And they did this in the PTS. They buffed her, like, bruh, big bruh moment. Like you release a character with no cooldowns and a new resource in Omi, and you don't even let the character come out, and like maybe it is bad for a patch, but like it's so experimental and different that like why don't you just let it play out? And we know now that it was broken. Like it's a little frustrating, you know? A little silly. And then Gilgamesh, exact same idea, boys. Nerf, 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 nerf. Nerf, nerf. Bug fix, nerf. Nerf, 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 nerf. It just goes on. Like, they've done nothing but nerf this character when he first came out. And it's like, so you could say like, oh, well, he wasn't nerfed in this main patch. Oh, he wasn't nerfed in this bonus patch. But if you want to count the bonus patches and the main patches as one, he's been nerfed every patch. What is going on in the testing? I need to watch this testing, like, that they thought this character was okay. And speaking of testing, there's no way they tested Tiamat, right? Like, they were just having a laugh when they came out with this character. Oh, yeah, they also buffed this character on PTS. But yeah, just a lot of broken mechanics. Like, the original Tiamat minions, that was really broken. What was the weakness of this character? Like, she even has CC immunity in her kit, when, like, so many other stance switchers just don't. You know, maybe she could be knockup immune in her melee ult, but, like, dude, she actually gets full CC immunity in this kit with 11 abilities. Doesn't win every game in the Smite Pro League, as we know. Maybe a bit of a Merlin / King Arthur in that case. But I don't know. Like, this character was way, way, way too bloated. And as a result, 97% pick ban rate. But let's get into one of the things that I think has... oh, well, this is kind of spoiling it, but no boots, I think, really has affected the game for the worse. The way it's allowed full percent pen with full item effects and everything, and overcapping on percent pen easily, and still getting a fully damaging build with overcapping attack speed on things like hunters, or, you know, I know assassins aren't that great right now, but still on assassins you can go well over the percent pen cap. Warriors in the jungle are able to get so many different movement items, and tanks are able to get what they need, right? But the problem is that carries are able to get so much penetration for no negative effect. They're able to get so much percent pen and still get their lifesteal online, still get their attack speed online. There's no give in these builds at all. This goes for mages too. In full percent pen, full percent pen with 2 items, with a Soul Reaver, and then healing with Soul Gem. Like, it is something different, but this also leads into the crazy snowball meta. Because if you have a 1-level lead on someone, they 100% are unable to outrun you in every single way, shape, and form. You know? Like, and this just leads to worse and worse snowballing as you get more move speed over your opponents, right? And you just get that naturally, and that just leads to even more snowballing, with the jungle meta being jungle warriors with mannequins, which of course is amplified by movement speed, being able to run you down with auto attacks. It really has caused so many issues, I think, that this patch needed to be 3 times as long. I think literally every item in the game needed to be addressed, right? And then they don't touch crit either, of course. Now they can just build Rage as their only crit item and get full percent pen still with all the attack speed they would ever need. Great. This is a great change. No, it's terrible. I think this is at the core of everything that's wrong with Smite at the moment, and I think the meta is very similar to what it was pre no boots, but it only got amplified, and everyone else got worse. I feel like is what happened with no boots. But yeah, mages just started slapulaing tanks around, and then you just see triple tank because you can't deal with the damage otherwise. The amount of damage that they're able to put out, you can't deal with it otherwise. And of course, Soul Reaver is basically just like a hack. It's just a hack because there's so much percent pen in the game. It's like, oh, okay, let's build a bit of health instead. Soul Reaver with percent pen, so it actually yeah does more damage than it probably should, huh? I think damage across the board, damage and defense across the board needed to be nerfed because everyone is completely uninhibited and able to get full six full items. Smite's not over because of this. I think there's still time to come back, but I feel like this was much too radical a change. I think boots should have been nerfed, and then if boots being nerfed didn't help anything, then maybe we look into removing boots then. But yeah, I think this leads back into what Variety was saying with just a radical huge change or a radical huge character with no real attentiveness to what's already in the game, or like letting about a patch pass through and then letting people half understand what the change actually did to the game, and then changing something else about the game based on a non-effectatious amount of time. It takes more than one patch to understand Umoja. It takes more than one patch to understand Tiamat. It certainly takes more than a PTS to understand Umoja, and more than a PTS to buff to look into buffing Tiamat right now. I would say it's just opened up this can of worms that is going to be really hard to come back from, and it needed a full. This should have dropped with Season 9, honestly. Like we just needed 48 pages of changes to really make this impactful. I know there's so many changes in this patch, but it just didn't. It just made the game feel worse, I feel. So let me know what you guys think about this, and yeah, what do you think Smite's less fun? Do you agree with Variety, Cherio, Inbound? Do you agree with them, or do you disagree with them? Do you agree with me? Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.